we were all hoping for because we wanted to see goals in this one, but unfortunately none was scored and the game ended 0-0 between Medeama and Dreams FC. There, I'm sure Dreams will be coming back to the capital with a lot of smiles because they've picked up a point in the at a very difficult grounds at the Akun Park. And for Medeama and Nebojsa, they would not be happy because they saw this as an opportunity for them to get all 3 points. My name is Mutale Yakubu, still watching Max TV and Start Times at the channel 247. This is the Ghana Premier League. Round 1 is done and we will be moving on to round 2 at the Diarra Sports Stadium, where Asante Kotoko will be taking on Nations FC at 6 p.m. But let's go through the full-time statistics for this game. Possession was even as both teams had 50%. 5 shots on target for Medeama to Dreams FC's 4, and 7 corners went the way of Medeama, with Dreams having just 2. Dreams were flagged offside twice and Medeama were flagged once. 21 fouls committed by the home side and Dreams committed 22. 2 yellow cards also went against Dreams FC and 1 against Medeama. No red cards, but the most important statistics in football is the scoreline, and they ended barren. So both teams will be leaving the Akun Park with a point. Still in the company of Nanedu and of course Josiah Okokwe. Josiah, not what we expected. We wanted to see goals in this one. It was promising, but in the end, well, for the neutrals, they will say it's disappointing, but for Dreams, they would be extremely delighted.
Yeah, Mutala, I think it was identical halves we saw. First half just similar to the second half. Nothing really changed. Neither of the teams up the tempo. It looked like, just like you said, Dreams will be okay with at least a point, because in the reverse fixture they won by 2-1. So out of 6 points they've picked up 4, and Medeama just left with 1. And you look at how both teams set up, and Mutala, you'll be thinking, after seeing the respective lineups of both teams, I was like, we could be in for something spectacular this afternoon. But then sometimes that's how football is. Sometimes what you want is not what you get, and it's for Dreams FC, they would have felt it's okay to pick up a point away at such a very difficult ground. This is the grounds that they visited last season. It didn't really go on well for them. But then for Medeama, I believe they are beginning to lose something as a club. That fear factor, that kind of urgency, and desire they play with last season at the Akun Park. This season we are not seeing that there, and I believe that's one of the reasons why they've not really, turned things around. And this season, you could also attest to the fact that they had to play some of their home games in Kumasi in the Continental Cup. If they had kept everything at just, the same grounds, it could have been, dangerous, because in Kumasi, they were able to beat Belouizdad. So you can't play on different grounds and expect to be consistent whenever you choose to play at home. But then I believe it's not bad, from a neutral perspective, because both of these teams did Ghana proud when they played in Africa. But then for this afternoon, Mutala, I just believe Dreams would feel okay going back to do with at least a point.
Of course, and Dreams will be happy. For Medeama, not a good one for them. They are beginning to lose something, especially with the Akun Park. It was like a slaughterhouse for most Premier League teams. But these days, teams go there with shoulder high, go grab a point, sometimes even getting all the 3 points. Not good for Medeama.
I think when we look at today's game, they miss a lot of chances. Right from the first half to the second half, Medeama missed a lot of chances. Diarra Taylor, Bernardo Tete, and Elias, they were missing a lot of chances. They tried to make sure they will come back into the game in the second half, but also not Dreams FC so, and we saw a different Dreams FC in the second half. Initially, they even missed a clear chance, a hit a crossbar, the top of the bar. Dreams FC were close to, taking the lead at the Takwa Compact. So I think Dreams FC showed something in the second half, and Adebakwa Zito the target that he brought to Takwa, which might achieve Mubako, at least to get a draw from Takwa, is bringing that to Accra. So I think it's a good result for Dreams FC, much more than Medeama.
Good result for Dreams FC, and that has changed the form guide of Dreams FC. So this is their form in the last 5 games that they've played. They managed to beat Swataman by 2-0 before drawing 2-2 when Hartford. That game was played at the Diarra Sports Stadium. Then we also had Dreams drawing 2-2 with Samatex and Nations beating Dreams FC by 1-0. Medeama drew goalless with Dreams. This is the last game that Dreams FC have played, and as you know, they would be happy coming away from the Akun Park with a point. For Medeama, not a good one for them. Diarra Taylor struggling. But this was a player who scored about 18 goals in the league during his time at Karela and even emerged top scorer. He's come back to the country and he's finding things really, really difficult.
Mutala, you don't just expect Diarra Taylor to return to, the league and all of a sudden start banging in goals. There's something we call adaptation sometimes. He needs to adapt to the Medeama system. And we spoke about the fact that Jonathan Soa did him so good. Why? Because he was younger, he was energetic, and he wasn't your typical number 9. He was someone who loved to, involve himself in the build-up. That's something Diarra Taylor doesn't have. He's a target man. He loves, to be in the box. He's more like a fox in the box. So these are two different profiles, of players we are talking about. Medeama learned to play according to Jonathan Soa's strength. So whenever they played, the likes of Fojo, the likes of Bernardino Satete, these were players who could, complement the strength of Jonathan Soa. But then you ask yourself, how many minutes has Diarra Taylor played already for Medeama? It will take time for him to just adapt to the way Medeama play. I wouldn't fault him. You could see he's a bit rusty. And, even off the cameras, we were talking about his confidence, which looks to have been shattered. And every striker needs that confidence to get in the goals. To bang, if you need to bang or if you want to bang in the goals as a striker, you have to be confident. We've seen strikers, even miss from close range and all that, open nets and all that. Why? Because they lack the confidence. So for Diarra Taylor, it will take some time. If only the Medeama faithfuls will be patient with him, because the standards of Jonathan Soa is still there. So whoever comes in to replace him would definitely be judged by those standards. It's similar to what happened at BBN Gold Stars when Abednego Zlatan left and they had to bring in Alex Asso. Alex Asso is not a poacher. He's a hard-working guy. He loves to press. He defends. He's the first line of defense for his team and all that. But then he wouldn't give you 18, 15 goals in the season. So it took time for the BBN Gold Stars faithfuls to understand that this is not a player whose style of play is synonymous to that of our former striker. So we need to give him time. And recently it looks like he's beginning to pick up. So for Diarra Taylor, yes, there's pressure on him. Now, fortunately for him, or unfortunately, Medeama are not playing in Africa. Now, he has some remaining games in the league to try to settle in. It wouldn't be seamless. It will come with a lot, of setbacks and all that. But then as a striker, we know, how the kind of character he is. He has a big character. He knows how to score the goals. But then things have changed in the league.
Do you still see that firepower in him, that desire to chase down everything?
The league is more competitive now. When he won the Golden Boot, he would have been 6 or 7 years younger at that time. Now he's older. Yes, he's matured, but then his legs do not feel, do not have that same strength they used to have some time back. That's why Medeama will have to try to play to his strength. He's not like a young Jonathan Soa who'll be chasing down every defender with the ball, who will be, trying to attack and face defenders whenever he has the ball. That's not what he has. It's similar to John Aintree at Dreams FC. He knows his legs are tired now. He's not that young John Aintree we used to know some time back when he was banging in the goals. So now you try to adapt to the system. The team also try to play to your strength, and they see out, or they bring out your best. So for Diarra Taylor, I believe he will come good, but it will take time for him to settle.
Now, tactically, has Medeama changed under Nebosha Copper? Do you see any difference as compared to what Ivan Sadote was doing?
No question about Copper. When you look at what Nebosha is bringing on board to Medeama, Omoma Adote Tranke better. That is a better option for them. Looking at where season is starting for Adote, doing well in Africa, competing in the Premier League. Those foreign coaches, most of the times, the best time for them to join a football club in this country is to take the team to a pre-season. You don't come in the middle of the season. Adaptation quite takes time for them to adapt to some of the style and the lifestyle of these Ghanaian players. So Omar Adote we a season for him to come and take over, take the team to pre-season before 10 starts for Medeama. That would be the best option for them. But I think the Adote time and compared to the new coach time, it's better than him. And I think they should have maintained Ivan Adote as their head coach.
You think Adote should have remained as the head coach?
Obviously, when you look at the kind of performance,
difference being said anymore.
It's better than what we are seeing now.
Oh,
it's better than what we are seeing now. It's a fact. It's better than what we are seeing now. And it takes time for these coaches to adapt to our style. yeah, players no star, no, you know, for you to even know some of these players, the way their mentality, the way they do it, everything, it takes time. So that would be the best option for them.
Well, Dreams have earned the points in this one, and they are super excited there. So let's go back to the Akun Park and have a listen to the two managers after the game, starting with the coach of Medeama and the Bocha Kopa.
In my opinion, we played well. We played good football. We tried to play good football. Some things you saw what I don't want to comment. We created enough opportunities, and I think we have to continue this work, and we will achieve what we want.
Like you rightly said, you created a lot of opportunities. Was it that the players were too eager to score, or they were just not ready to take those chances?
I know this is football. All of us, especially players who are very in opportunities, they wanted to score. This is normal. Sometimes this is something what in some situations is very difficult to explain. We did well, maybe a little better concentration in finishing. We need this. We will try to improve this, and this is something what I can't tell about this.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Coach, thank you very much once again for giving us your time. It's been a very tough encounter. You indicated that looking at the changes you had to make, you'll be pleasantly smiling if you go back with a point. Are you satisfied?
I'm very, very satisfied because, as I told you from the beginning, I came here with two objectives, either to win or to draw, at least to draw. So when I saw the way the game was going, I decided if I go on too much pressing, I'll get a problem. So I changed the system to suit what I wanted. And what I wanted at that time was to draw or to take them on counter. So you know we had a chance. Just unfortunately the ball could not enter. But at the end of the day, I've achieved my objectives.
Going forward, a lot of people are looking forward to some positive play from Dreams FC, especially in the CAF Comfort Cup. Based on your satisfaction here today, can you give some level of assurance?
Okay, I said also that I'm going to use this game to also start preparing for Stade Malien. And remember, two of my dependable defenders are not playing. And then again, three of my players are with the U20. So imagine, even it was six. Though it was six, it was only today that I had entry. And then the day. So you could see that even with all the starting players who were with the national team, I still get on playing to get what I wanted. So I use this game, as I said, I'm using it to prepare myself against Stade Malien. So I'm okay. I'm okay with the 1 point.
Thank you very much, Coach Aiko.
Thank you very much.
Most valuable player after 90 minutes plus time added on is that man who stood in goal for Dreams Football Club, Solomon Agbashi. Solomon, first of all, congratulations. You have been elected as the MVP. I'd like to find out from you, how difficult or easy was this game?
Thank you very much. First of all, I give thanks to the Almighty God because He's the ultimate in this life. And playing this away game was very difficult, but we stuck to the plan of the coach and we got 1 point. And it's very important for us. So we work towards the next game.
Exactly. For Dreams, I know you almost always take a game at a time, one step after the other. But I asked Coach this question, and I also ask you. You are competing in the Ghana Premier League. You are competing in the MTN FA Cup. You are also competing in Africa. Does this take the steam out of you, the players?
Yeah, it's not easy, but with the players, we are mentally strong and we'll keep on fighting and training, and we'll be able to put our best to go through all these competitions.
From the matches that you have already played, both home and away, how do you fancy Dream FC's chances of getting to the top in the Comfort Cup?
Well, we are doing well and we are doing our best, and we'll continue to do our best to get to the top. And we need the support of all Ghanaians to be at our back, and we'll give them what they want.
Your next opponent is a very stubborn Stade Malien. I'm sure you've heard about them.
Sure.
Is it doable? Can we pass them?
Yes, it's doable. We are very strong and we are training very hard and we are mentally in discipline. And I've played with some of these French people. I know how they play, so I've told the coach about it, and we work towards that, and we'll give our best.
MVP Solomon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the most valuable player in this game, Solomon Agbashi, the goalkeeper for Dreams FC. They're talking about the upcoming quarter-final game in the CAF Confederation Cup against Stade Malien. And their coach, Karim Zito, has also spoken about that one, that these games that they are playing in the Premier League are preparatory games towards that big one. So let's see how that would go. But remember that the Ghana Premier League on Start Times at the Patch Channel 247 and also on Max TV is brought to you by High Sense, Medeama for Herbal Clinic, JB Fresh Juice, and supported by Soccer Bet there. Now, Nedu, you've heard from the two coaches. You can see Karim Zito is extremely happy with what he's seen from his boys. But now, what you say, and from where I'm sitting, I'm a bit surprised with that comment.
We can change a high result in here.
A high result in here.
Results. When you are playing at home, what the supporters need is a maximum 3 points. So, born if not 3 points number, they will complain. But for Karim Zito, before the game, he stated it clear. It's a preparatory game for the CAF Confederation quarter-final game against Stade Malien for Mali. And I think Medeama as a club will give them a good match, and they've given them that match that will help them prepare very well for Stade Malien. I'm happy for them. Performance more than they didn't what they did in the game. I'm happy for them. So it's a good result for them.
Okay, good result for them. But we'll look at the other results as well. This was not the only game that was played today. There were other equally important games in the Ghana Premier League. So, apart from Medeama's goalless draw with Dreams FC, Brekum Chelsea also drew 1-1 with Bichim United. And Bofo Akwatano had the win against Karela. They won by 2-1. But the heavy victors of the day are Great Olympics, who won by 4-2 there against Adriana. That is a big result for the Daddy boys there. I'm sure people will be surprised with that result, because these days Indiana are top customers. But Great Olympics beats in there by 4-2. Lagos City has also got a slim win over in Swateman, and in a few minutes time, Asante Kotoko would also be hosting Nations FC at the Barbara Sports Stadium, a game that will be showing you live on Star Times at the Patch Channel 247. Monday, we'll see RTU take on the likes of Accra Lions, and on it goes like that. Josiah, big win for Great Olympics. Before I came to the studio, I told you I was on Twitter the whole day, and Nanaba Nanwa told me or asked me to look at the schedule of Great Olympics and tell her when Great Olympics will play. I'm sure she will be super delighted with this result.
I think the Wonder Club has a way. They have a penchant of trying to draw people, lovers to the club, and I'm not surprised that she's already in love with this club, because this club has Awako in it.
She believes it's the best club in the world.
Yeah. There are people in this house who believe that Great Olympics are worthy of winning the Ghana Premier League. So that's no surprise. But then there's a team that
Even Saint Jose.
but then, you see, playing at home, I think it was a good choice for them to play most of their home games at the Sugakope Wafa Park, because gradually they are beginning to know how
they are back to the Accra Sports Stadium.
Yeah, they'll be back there. But then with the way they are playing, Mutala, I believe they have so much quality in there. I always say that the only thing that Great Olympics are lacking now is the fact that mentally they don't believe that they can win the league. But then the moment they start to believe that they can, because you look at the team from the defense to attack to midfield, Mutala, they are very good, and I believe if they believe they can win it.
Okay, so that is for Great Olympics. We'll have time and discuss all the other results, but at this time we are turning our attention and focus to that big game at the Barbara Sports Stadium, because Kumasi Asante Kotoko will be in action against Nations FC, who are currently second on the league table. That is a big game to be played. Asante Kotoko against Nations FC is what we are looking at. Great Olympics are now 10th on the table with 31 points. Big win for them. But for Aqua still in the relegation zone. Heart of Lions in the relegation zone. NRTU also in the relegation zone. Now, this feels like a must win for Asante Kotoko. As in the game, no, they can't just afford to drop points. 5 games played in the second round, 4 defeats, just 1 win. You may say there isn't much pressure on Postman Atiogum due to the circumstances in which he became the Asante Kotoko coach. But then there will be pressure on him from the fans, because in the game, no, it is also against an Ashanti regional rival.
The new Kumasi derby.
Yeah. Can fight at the end of him.
Sacrifice I need Premier League in the game. And I understand, Prosper Ogun will not be on the bench today because of, the red card he received the last game against Indiana Stars. So Prosper Ogun will not be on the bench today against Nations FC. And when you look at the result that is coming in, it tells you Kotoko will have to start picking points at home, picking maximum 3 points at home. So they should do everything possible to get the maximum 3 points today. And when you look at their lineup, the kind of players who are in,
we'll go through the lineup.
It's a strong game coming out today, and I think it's going to be a big game involving Kotoko and Nations FC.
Josiah, I'm sure you remember the first leg of this fixture. That chaotic game out there. Dr. Kwame Chase was coming. It ended 2-2 there. And today they have another battle before them. But it looks, it's playing out to be a very important game for Kotoko. One that they can't afford to drop even a single point.
It's very important for them, Mutala. Looking at their recent form, just winning one in their last 5, and also the fact that they are coming up against their rivals. There's a derby, there's a Kumasi derby, and I believe the first leg or the reverse fixture giving us a clue to how this one will pan out. Because we look at what happened over there, it was scenic, it was chaotic, it was hostile. Everything that a derby, it had everything, the drama, everything. It was such a dramatic ending to that game where Kotoko went down, they came back to lead, and then they got pegged back again by Nations FC. And I believe they'll be coming into this game with those memories, full memories of what happened a couple of months ago, where Nations FC were just new in the scene. No one knows what they were coming up with, what they had, their strengths and weaknesses. And I believe after all they've done, now they are on top of Kotoko on the league law. And prior to the commencement of this match week, they were just 2 points, adrift first place Samatex, who also won against Heart of Oak yesterday. So now they'll be going into this game with the notion that we still have to win and close up the gap on Samatex. But then for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, this goes beyond just the 3 points because their pride is on the line. They've not really been the Kotoko we saw towards the tail end of the first round. They've really struggled this season. In the second round, most of the players, even Mo Sharif is out. Richmond Lamte is struggling.
We'll come and continue that conversation on Star Times at the Patch Channel 247. Unfortunately, we have to go off Max TV and continue the discussion on Star Times. And that one, we will be connecting with the Ampofuanka and Coach Ebenezer Sefa, who are pitch side duties and will be telling us more from the Barbara Sports Stadium. So see you after this. So we are live on Star Times at the Patch Channel 247. Asante Kotoko Nations FC is the game that we are looking forward to, and it will kick off in a few minutes' time at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Medeama Dreams FC earlier drew goalless, and that one is gone. Now we're focusing on this big one at the Barbara Sports Stadium. So let's cross over to the Barbara Sports Stadium where Yao Mpofuanka is standing by to tell us what is happening there. Yao, there will be a famaye. Yeah, what's Omega?
Thank you very much, Mutala. Crowd here we are at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Welcome once again. This is a big game this evening. I'm sure our boys in the studio have told you that. But what does it mean for two sides here who are actually fighting? They're calling it the Battle of Ashanti. Traditionally, it is Asante Kotoko. Kim Faisal gave them a run for their money for several years. Way back, it was Cornerstone. Now, it's the new boys, Nations FC. And this evening, Nations would attempt to stop the Porcupine Warriors here at the Barbara Sports Stadium. The crowd, they're beginning to fill in bits and bobs, but I'm sure before kickoff, we'll see a sizable amount of fans. I'm not alone. I'm at pitch side with Coach Eben Sifa, who's been following the Ghana Premier League for several seasons, and in particular, this season. Coach, it's a very interesting game we have ahead. The weather is almost perfect, and Asante Kotoko are favorites to win on paper. Can they translate that into reality?
Well, I must say that it depends on how they approach the game. You know, in their last 5 games, they've been able to win 4 and lose to 1. And this is a crucial game for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But I believe that nation in the first leg, it ended 1-1 in Abrankesi. And of course, in the FA Cup, Kotoko won by 4 goals to 2. So the two teams met twice, and Kotoko has won 1, and the one has been a drawn game. So it's a crucial game, and due to the results that Kotoko chalked at Doma the last time, and of course they are missing their head coach Dr. Prosper Ogun, and one of key players, Steve Mukwala, is not in the squad. Kalu Watara is not in the squad, and of course nations are also missing the service of Victor Odro. So it's definitely going to be a tight one. As you said, it's not Cornerstone, it's not King Faisal. This is nation, and then Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And hopefully very shortly we'll talk to the two coaches to give us an insight as to how they will put their stall ahead of this game. I did say that on paper Kotoko are favourites. When I say paper, I mean historically it is the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, it is their home, they have the advantage. But when you talk of current form, when you talk about the points on the table, when you talk about consistency, then nations are the favourites. And our coach Mimboa.
Oh, of course, these are two teams playing home and away. Nation is the only team in the Ghana Premier League that has not lost a game at home. They've won some matches away from home. Kotoko have also won some matches here, and of course it's definitely going to be a difficult game for both sides. In as much that Kotoko is missing the services of Dr. Prosper Ogun. Coach Mingelo Kanse is available, and of course the players of nations, if they're able to win this game, they're closing the gap with Samates with 2 points. If they lose, Samates still maintain their 5 points gap, and of course if Kotoko should win, they come on top of Asofo, who lost yesterday. So it's a crucial game, but I think that it depends on how both technical teams goes into this game.
Yeah, no doubt. And just to remind you that, Coach Prosper is not here because he was red carded in the match against Doma, but the reliable assistant who's been speaking to us throughout joins me at pitch side, Coach Oklu, and we'll find out from him exactly. Obviously, he wouldn't feel the absence of Prosper Ogun in terms of, the physically, but I'm sure he's communicating with his boss somewhere. He joins me at pitch side. Coach, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Well, normally you're here anyway, but on this occasion, it's been forced on Coach Prosper because he was red carded in Doma. How are you closing that gap of communication?
Yeah, you are right. Prosper, unfortunately, is not here, but I'm stepping in his shoes to do what we always do together.
Well, on paper, Kotoko are favourites, but in terms of form, consistency, points on the table, nations are favourites.
Yeah, it's true. They are playing well, and we know the opposition we are meeting today, but we are prepared to give them a good game.
Does it always matter when you see your other opponents play before you, in particular Hearts of Oak, who lost yesterday against Samatex?
No comments.
No comment. But this game, you've got a couple of players missing. Mukwala, your top scorer. Watara, Kalu, I understand, is out. Is it an injury?
Watara is nurturing an injury. Mukwala, as you know, he has been called by the Uganda national team. Asare is also called by Ghana. But we have able men there to do the job.
You have able men, but again, you would have to make changes. Some are forced, some are technical. A younger side, a bit of inexperience. I see Isaac Opong is also back.
Yeah, it's a plus to us to see Isaac back. But you could say the young guys have been good so far. Talking about Peter and Bernard, who scored our last goal. I think they are good to go.
And then very finally, how are you handling the pressure? How are you helping the players handle the pressure? It's Kotoko after all, and if you go without a win in about 5 games, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, there's no pressure on them. They've been training well, and I think this is a no game for them.
A win?
I can't say a win, but we will get a decent result.
Thank you very much, Coach Oklu, always smiling. He says there's no pressure on him, but we'll see what happens on the pitch. And of course, one of the consistent coaches, well-traveled technical brains in Ghana football is also here, pitch side with me, and they'll be finding out for him. Pressure for Kotoko in terms of not winning, maybe pressure on nations in terms of them winning and the position they're in. Coach, good evening. Good evening, sir. Are you surprised to find that your favourites for this game against Kotoko at Baba Yara is an away match against the Porcupine Warriors?
I'm not surprised at all. I know we don't know home and away. Everywhere we go, we play our normal football we've been playing.
How are your players handling the expectations now? People are not really expecting. Now every match, nations are expected to get a result.
Oh, I've talked to them. I've sacked them up. It's like a normal game we've been playing always. So they should come down and play their normal game and enjoy the game.
That's what happened in the first game against Kotoko at Abrankese. You know, is it at the back of your mind, at the back of the players' minds?
Oh, we've forgotten about it long time ago. You know, that was their first time playing the Premier League. Now they've matured. They've tasted a lot of it in Premier Division matches. So they've seen what it takes to play Premier Division. So that thing, we've forgotten about it.
People are talking about Samatex nations being the outsiders to win the league and surprise everybody. You're aware?
I'm aware, but we have to work hard for it. It's not easy. Look at the points gap between us. So we need to work very hard before we can get there.
A win for nations?
Inshallah, we win.
Inshallah, says the coach. Thank you very much, Coach Bingo. And you see, the pressure is not on Coach or his players. He reckons it's another ordinary game. But at Babayara, as the away team, you really can't say it's an ordinary game. Coach, listening to the two coaches, they're all, trying to allay the pressure, but there is pressure.
Yeah, I think that they are trying to manage the situation. I mean, although you talk about pressure, yeah, they are managing it. Of course, they are handling the team. For instance, Oklu, as you said, his head coach is not available. Of course, he needs to manage it. So he says there's no pressure on the players. But tactically and technically, I'm sure he knows how to deal with his players. Mengel, of course, he knows that when he loses, he has nothing to lose. He'll still be on second on the league log, but he needs to win to close in the gap. Kotoko also needs to win to up Accra House of Folk, but the coach said no comment about that issue. But I believe that they know what they're about. Both teams are missing some key players, especially Kotoko. As you mentioned, Steve Mukwala, Kalu Watara, and Kotoko Nations also missing Victor Odru. I mean, he's one of the key players of the team.
Very consistent, yeah.
With the return of Isaac Opon, whether he's going to make changes, and of course Bernard Sumwa starting on top of attack for Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Yeah, let's talk about the atmosphere. We can't do without that. I mean, we've been blessed with beautiful crowds, the African Games, and the Ghana Premier League would also love to have such. It's not yet half or even quarter, but I reckon that, the way the league is going, we should be getting more crowds at the big venues. And the games are over, so, the Accra Sports Stadium should be back as well. And maybe a couple of teams will be adopting Legon.
Well, I'm sure that Legon is free now. And of course, I know that Legon cities will be adopting that side. And of course, probably Accra Great Olympics, who knows? Or maybe House of Folk or Legon Accra Lions will also love to play at that stadium.
If you watch the warm-up of Asante Kotoko, obviously Isaac Opong back, others, in the younger players, you kind of see that they're being tentative. They are short.
Yeah, these are registered players of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, whether you like it or not. The likes of Nuruddin and Justice Blay is going to be the center of defense. They have Emmanuel Kote from Swatraman as the right back, Nicolas Osebunsu as the left back, and of course Inti Menu as a pivot, and of course Richmond Lamte and Babayaya. And of course they are going to have those two players, that is Isaac Opon and then Bernard Sumwa up front, so that they use Peter Amidu Aqua. For me, the inform of Kotoko players to today. So it's Kotoko for me, they are fine to go. It depends on how they approach this game. The game that was played in Doma, I think that was the best game for Kotoko in the last 5 games that they played. Though they lost 4 and they won 1 against Bibeni Gustan. That was their best game. But let's see how it goes. For me, I'll call for fair officiating in this game. And as the nations visited this venue, it rained this venue, and that was in the FA Cup, and they lost by 4-2. And Kotoko goalkeeper won the man of the match. And the same goalkeeper is imposed for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. That is Moise Poit, the Cameroonian international. So of course, it's definitely going to be a difficult game. But hey, the crowd are anxious, and I went out there, and then the majority of them are now trooping in to see whether their loving club, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, will be able to stop Nations FC, or Nation AC also will add up to the Kotoko O's.
The president of Nations, Divine Boydu, always keeps away and keeps quiet and moves away from the pressure from the team. But I'm sure he's also aware that potentially, if Samatex slip up, if the others don't pick up, Nations could find themselves in pole position to take this league.
Look, Samatex 5 points between them and Nations. Samate's next game is against Medeama, and Medeama just drew with Dreams FC. So if Nations is to win these points today, they are going to close it up to 2. It's not easy for Kumasi Asante Kotoko to just go in there and lose this game. Yeah, I'm not sure their fans will forgive them. And nations are also looking at it that, look, Diarra has done it before under the late Herbert Ado. In their first season in the Premier League, they won the league. Why can't they do it? They are yet to lose a game at home. So if they're able to get our mass some points away from home, who knows? They can easily go on top of the league at the end of the season. So for me, I think that it's a game of mindset. It's a game of how the teams have quality in depth, though they are missing some key players. So let's see how Prosper. I'm sure he has spoken to the players behind the field, and I'm sure Oklu will definitely be getting some information from Prosper Nate Ogun, though he's not going to be on the touchline. For Mingle, he's here and he sees everything clearly.
Yeah, tactically, both teams would try to avoid a defeat. Adriana lost today against Great Olympics. I think it was 4-2.
Yes.
And so the top, we know it's very, very mathematical. It's all about how you take advantage of their home. Kotoko should have some good support. They're beginning to come in, as you rightly said, and there's no doubt about it. It is a very big, big game here at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. No coach brings a little bit of a dicey, vibe to the Kotoko bench, but for nations, they're very, very stable indeed. I'm not going to ask you for your predictions, but the fans are confident that this is a match Kotoko will begin winning again.
Kotoko fans started talking when they lost to Adriana that they are going to beat Nation FC. They are going to pick all these points. And coupled to the fact that House of Folk lost yesterday, so they will love to win and make sure that they go ahead of House of Folk. They have a different league between them and House of Folk. I mean, the kind of competition both two teams are having. But on the whole, Nation will not come easy. Looking at the midfield of Nation, Prince Aqua, and of course the likes of Abdul Rashid, formerly of Bechem United. These are creative players in midfield. Kotoko is having in team menu, formerly of Wafa. They have Richmond Lamte and Babaya, another creative players. And of course, Peter Amidu Aqua, one of the speedsters that we can have in our league. But the Nations have their main man on the bench, the one with a lot of pace on the bench. That's Nuru. He's also on the bench. So tactically, Mengo knows what it's about, and of course, Oklu also knows what it's about. Yeah, it depends on the players. If the players want to give all, we are going to see a very beautiful football tonight.
There's one player that a lot of, maybe he's been underrated or not much is said about him, but he did get a call up to the Black Stars, defender Razak. He's always very consistent, and a lot would depend on him today, his leadership at the back.
Of course, he's the captain for Nations FC. He's one of the finest centre backs that you can have in our league. His days with Liberty Professionals, his days with Wafa, and he took over as the captain of Nations FC. He's been fantastic. Anybody watches him, he's calm and he knows how to drive the team. Richmond Lamte returned from the Black Stars camp in Cote d'Ivoire, has not been the Lamte that we used to know. But yeah, this is a different ball game together. Kotoko players believe that if they don't win this game, there are going to be a lot of pressure on them because their next game is not going to be at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. And of course, Nations will be going back to Abrankasi. So it's a game that they feel that they need to win. And Nations also want to make a case for themselves that, look, beginning of the season, we were not performing. But thanks to their coach, Mengel, he's been able to put in a lot of work and now the team is performing. So it's definitely going to be a dicey situation. And as you said, on paper, Kotoko stands as favorite, but this is a game that Nations can surprise Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Yep, they'll be looking forward to doing that. Let's quickly also bring in the factors around it. The confidence of Kotoko will be a little bit high because they're arch rivals. You see that we're playing two leagues in one league.
Yeah.
Kotoko always want to end above Hearts.
Yeah.
Hearts, even if they don't win the league. Hearts lost yesterday, so that would give Kotoko extra motivation. But talking about the defeat, Hearts were not the usual side we saw them. Somehow Samatex were able to ruffle them and bully them in a way.
It's not about bullying there. You give credit to Samatex. They dominated all the departments, and I was not surprised Coach Abubakar Ouattara considered that it was his fault because he made a mistake in his player selection. You remember when we were on set yesterday, I did mention that the midfield of House of Folk cannot match the midfield of Samatex. You talk of Okra, you talk of Seydou Dauda, and of course Emmanuel Kayeke, and then Evans Osewusu. I mean, if you want a player to handle Evans Osewusu, not Amankwa Befi. So of course, House of Folk, and they have also a poor goalkeeping from Richard Atta. You give credit to Samatex. They dominated, and I think that they deserve that victory.
No doubt about it. So if you look at the league table as it stands, a lot of permutations, it's changing all the time, which is exciting, no doubt. It's very exciting for the Ghana Premier League, and it could go to the wire once again. Maybe the pressure might start telling on Samatex, on Nations. They've not been in this position before, whereas Hearts of Oak, with the experience, are gaining momentum. Kotoko, if they start picking up some wins with the support and their experience, could do the same. Great Olympics on and off, they would like to take points of Hearts and Kotoko. So the league is far from decided, and the factors of the support will be very, very critical. Do you think the future of Prosper Ogun is secured regardless of how the season ends?
If you are listening to the coach, he believes that he was given the job by His Royal Highness Otumfuo Setutu, and he believes that the assignment, the mandate was to build a formidable side for Kotoko in future. So he believes that he's still on course, and he believes that he's having a young players that he's gradually putting up. But it's about results. If you are building a team, that doesn't mean you shouldn't win matches. Yeah. So of course, Kotoko in 5 games they've lost 4, and it's not of Kotoko. In their last 3 games they've lost all. So this is a crucial game for Kotoko, and unfortunately for him, he's never going to be on the bench because of the suspension that he had in the red carded game that was played in Doma. So for me, it's a difficult game, no doubt about it. Kotoko supporters, you can look around. Yes, they are not sure of themselves. They are coming in. Even when you listen to them, they believe that the players need to kill themselves. They need to go all out. Nations have few supporters among the crowd here, but the players themselves are motivating themselves that, look, if you're able to win against Kumasi Asante Kotoko, we're closing the gap. And that is the most important thing. And of course, it's going to be a beautiful game. Watching the warm-up from both teams, you realize that they were focused and tactically they know what they were about.
Yeah, the weather is almost perfect. There's a slight breeze. We hope it doesn't rain. I mean, we've had rain here consistently the last 2 live telecasts, and that does hamper play, but it is a good weather. The breeze is great. Kickoff evening time. The fans, as you're rightly saying, are beginning to trickle in one by one. And you know the funny thing, if at halftime Kotoko is leading, some fans will leave home and come and watch the second half. It's a tradition. Why don't you come from the beginning? They're not happy with the team?
Well, it's not about that. The way the team is performing, you see, they are not sure of the team Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And of course, people mention Kotoko Yanfan Kwalam, but yes, in as much that they have the quality, they have the talent, they need maturity in their game. You watch Samatex and Hasofo game yesterday, you realize that this is a matured game that you were watching. But for Kotoko, as I said earlier on, in their last 5 games, their best performance has been the game that they lost in Doma against Adriana. And that And that was not at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. And they are playing a team that is also based here in the Ashanti region, not far from here, that is Abrankesi. And they've played twice. Kotoko has won 1 in the FA Cup and drew in Abrankesi. So of course, it's never going to be easy. They know each other very well. So let's see how Mingle and Oklu handle this situation.
All right. Coach Eben Sifa here with me at Rings pitch side, and he'll be back at halftime and close it. The fans, as you rightly say, beginning to trickle in. But let's go back to Accra in the studio where Butala Yakubu will take over until kickoff.
Thanks very much to Performer and Coach Ebenezer Sifa for being us the honest on a pitch side, and they're giving us everything that we need to know about this game. It is a big one, and we take a quick break here. When we return, we go through the lineup of the 2 teams. Welcome back from that break. You're still watching Star Times at the channel 247, and in a few minutes time we'll be at the Barbera Sports Stadium for this big clash between Kumasi, Asante Kotoko, and of course Nations FC. There now, the lineup of the two teams are out, and the breaking news is that Dan Lad has returned to the bench for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. He has been out of the team for some time now with reasons, no particular reasons at all, but this time he has been reinstated onto the bench. Now the lineup of the two sides look like this. Moise Porte will be imposed for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Then Richmond Lamte will be captaining the side. Justice Blaze in there. Bernard Somoa is also starting. Isaac Opon, popularly known as Sunyani Nema, is starting for them. Then you have Yusuf Nuruddin also back into the lineup. Baba Yaya is there. Andrew Sintimenu, Nicolas Osebonsu, Akwapita Amidu, and of course Kote Emmanuel is also starting for Asante Kotoko. And for Nations FC, Kofi Mensah is also imposed for them. Emmanuel Boahene is the captain of the side. Kwame Boache is there. Asamoah Boateng Efriye, who is the top scorer for Nations FC, is also starting. He scored 9 goals so far. Prince Aqua is in there, and the ever reliable Razak Simpson is also starting for them. Prince Badu, Michael Mensah Ewua, Blankson Nyama, Abdul Karim, and of course Justice Aaron Asante is also starting. But the big news, Josiah, is that Danlad Ibrahim is back into the Kotoko team. This time he has a place on the bench.
Yeah, I think that's great news for the Kotoko fans, the Kotoko ultras, if I should put it, because for some time now I think there's been questions, surrounding his absence from the team. It looks like he's been in isolation for some time now. No one knows what's happening. You ask the coach gives no definite answer. Even those close to the team do not even know what's wrong. But then, I think Frederick Asari's inclusion in the national team, that's the Black Stars, has also paved way for him to be included. He's one of the finest goalkeepers we've seen. There's a goalkeeper who has been through the junior ranks of the national team, the under 17, 20, and 23, and he's one of the finest goalkeepers we have in the league. But then, as to why he was sidelined for all this while, no one knows. But then, Mutala, trust me, it's good to have him, because you need such characters, on the bench, even if not in the dressing room, on the bench, you need them. And at some point, if Moise Poate should, be straight off injured or anything should happen, he's the man who is going to, fill that void.
Now they do so. It's a 4-4-2 formation for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, who are without their coach Prosper Nateogun, because he was shown a red card in their last game against Adriana. But Emmanuel Korte starting as right back. This is the reason why he was bought. But Justice Blaze has always been the makeshift right back. Today, Korte gets an opportunity to start.
A big opportunity for him, because there's a reason why they brought him from Nswatremai. Last weekend against Indiana Stars, because of accumulated yellow card, it was former Bofo Akwatano right back Samuel Asamoah who started the right back position for Kotoko. Now, Emmanuel Korte, arguably the best right back in the first round, is starting for them, and I think it's a big opportunity for him to also show something for the club. The chance are all now, but the BBH supporters, and they say they need to give me opportunity to start game for Asante Kotoko. It's today's game, so I'm expecting a lot from Emmanuel Korte from the right back position. I'm happy for my boy Bernard Somoa to partner Isaac Opon, quality player in Asante Kotoko, but he's not getting enough playing time in the team. But also opportunity for him to also show something within the team. Andrew Sintimenu worked hard in their last game against the Diana Stars. That is why I'm not surprised. He's starting ahead of, Rocky Jamena in the team. Michael Jamena is injured for 3 weeks. That is why he's not in the starting lineup. But Rocky Jamena is available. But in team menu performance last week, I'm not surprised he's starting ahead of those players in the team. So I'm happy for them. Strong lineup for Asante Kotoko. The same as Nations FC. Interesting game coming ahead of us.
Jose, our Nations are also coming up with a 4-4-2. So Kasi Mingo is trying to counter what Kotoko are bringing to the fold. And one player that they will rely on is Efriye, who is their top scorer. He scored 9 goals so far in the Premier League for them.
Yeah, obviously Efriye leading the attack for them, and then also Razak Simpson, who will be marshalling things and coordinating the defense for them today. I believe those will be the most important players for Nations FC, coming up against Kotoko. If we are talking about experience, Mutala, we know that Kotoko have got rich vein of experience. Looking at the players they've paraded, yes, they are without some key players. Mukwala is not there. He's off. He's on international duty. Frederick Asari is also not there. Mo Sharif has been injured for some time now, and he has opted to go for Justice Blaze, who is playing alongside Nuruddin today. Justice Blaze has not no, he's been decent. He's been consistent in that position, right centre back. Today he's playing as a main centre back in this formation. But then you look at Nations FC, just like you said, 9 goals from a free game. That's top, quality, display from him this season. He's really led this team. He's banged in the goals, especially he feels comfortable when they are playing at the Dr. Kwamchi Sports Complex, and that's where he gets most of his goals. But then I'm looking at this team and I'm looking at the 4-4-2, which is a very, very flat one, as compared to the Kotoko one, which looks a bit more versatile because they can change shapes. But then I'm looking at this Nations FC lineup, and if they can keep their shape and consistency, technically or tactically, they should be disciplined. Mutala, it will be very, very difficult for Kotoko to break down this.
Well,
defense.
The two teams are almost ready to come out of the tunnel, but on the bench for Kumasi Asante Kotoko is Serge Eric Zeze, Enoch Morrison, Nana Benyi Amwa, Henry Kwame Ensu has been given a place on the bench. Danlad Ibrahim is there, Samoa, Nicholas Mensah, Rocky Dramina, and of course Richmond Opoku are the men on the bench for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And for Nations FC, they have Asante Bwangi on the bench, Isaac Botwe, Nafiu Sulemana, Besmark Opon JC, Berima Ba is there, Jafet Novionyo is also on the bench, Sadiq Alasan, Amiru Diarra, and of course Kweku Dria. We have to cross over to the Baba Yara Sports Stadium for the first half of this game. It is Kotoko coming up against Nations FC. Enjoy that one.
Hello, good evening. Pleasant welcome to the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. It's match day 23 of the Ghana Premier League. It's an Ashanti derby between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Nations FC. Asante